You know, it, 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 there's a quiet misunderstanding about spiritual growth that most people don't discover until they're already knee deep in it. We tend to imagine enlightenment as ascent, as light, as clarity washing over us like a clean sunrise after a long night. We picture peace arriving fully formed, certainty replacing confusion, answers settling where questions once lived. But if we're honest with ourselves, that's not how it usually unfolds. More often, the path inward feels less like rising and more like breaking open, less like gaining something new and more like losing what once kept us steady. In this early part of the 21st century, especially after the world shook itself awake around 2008, people began asking deeper questions, not just about money or success, but about meaning. And those questions didn't come politely. They arrived during sleepless nights, in therapy rooms, in quiet moments after the noise died down. They showed up when the old stories stopped working. When prayer felt hollow, when meditation stirred more ache than calm, when the things that once anchored us, beliefs, routines, even communities, started to feel thin in our hands. And here's the part nobody talks about enough. Spiritual growth can hurt. Not in a dramatic, cinematic way, but in a slow, disorienting way. The kind of hurt that doesn't announce itself, the kind that makes you wonder whether you're moving forward or falling apart. You let go of one certainty, and instead of peace, grief rushes in. You touch something sacred, and suddenly all the unresolved pain you've been carrying asks to be seen. You feel called toward a higher love, and at the same time, you feel more alone than you ever have. In the age of endless screens and curated awakenings, this tension only deepens. Everywhere you look, someone seems to have found the answer. The right language, the right ritual, the right glow. And if your own journey feels messy, if your faith wobbles, if your emotions surge, if your growth comes with tears instead of transcendence, you start to wonder whether you're doing it wrong. You scroll past certainty while wrestling with doubt. You compare your interior storm to someone else's polished peace. And slowly, quietly, shame slips in. But what if that emotional turbulence isn't a failure of spirituality? What if it's evidence of it? What if the tears, the anger, the loneliness, the confusion, what if those are not detours from growth, but the very terrain of it? Because real transformation doesn't bypass the heart. It goes straight through it. It asks us to feel what we've avoided, to grieve what we've outgrown, to sit with questions that don't resolve on schedule. I've seen again and again that the people who grow the deepest are not the ones who avoid the dark night, but the ones who stay present inside it. The ones who are willing to write the journal entry that admits rage at the divine. The ones who say out loud, "I'm not sure what I believe anymore, but I'm still here." The ones who let trusted companions witness their unraveling instead of performing strength. There is courage in that kind of honesty. A quiet, steady courage that doesn't seek applause. What's striking is how often leadership, real leadership, emerges from these hidden seasons. Not the kind that speaks loudly, but the kind that listens well. When people in positions of influence name their own spiritual doubt, their own emotional reckoning, something shifts. Others breathe easier. The room softens. The illusion that growth must be glossy begins to crack. And in that space, trust takes root. Because people don't need perfect guides. They need truthful ones. This matters beyond the personal. A society made up of emotionally unexamined seekers is brittle. A democracy filled with people chasing transcendence while suppressing grief becomes unsteady. When inner lives are neglected, public life suffers. We grow reactive, divided, easily manipulated by certainty that sounds confident but lacks compassion. But when spiritual growth is allowed to be emotional, when people are taught that doubt is not disloyalty, that sorrow is not weakness, that breakdown can be part of breakthrough, something healthier begins to form. And so the question isn't whether spiritual growth will stir emotion. It will. The question is whether we'll make room for that truth or keep pretending that enlightenment comes without cost, whether we'll walk this path alone or choose to build circles of witness and grace, whether we'll numb what hurts or name it with honesty and care. If this reflection resonates, if you've felt this quiet emotional side of growth that no one prepared you for, I invite you to say so. Share what surprised you. Share what you're carrying. These conversations matter more than we admit. And if you want to keep exploring these deeper currents together, stay connected. Subscribe, linger, return. Because the work of understanding the soul was never meant to be rushed or done alone.